Go King. Rose for three. This is trouble.
I want to go higher. That's what I'm talking about right here.
Rose trying to get open, fires away.
Bang! It's over. The Bulls win at the buzzer.
When he burst onto the NBA scene nearly a decade and a half ago, we had never seen anyone quite like Derrick Rose.
Rose jets in and touch the ball.
Get out the way.
Few pro athletes have ever been so good so quickly.
Threw it nicely to Derrick. Behind his back, and he drives and scores.
Oh my goodness, counter on this guy. Woo, he got lost.
Rose was a unique blend of speed, power, and a 40-inch vert in a point guard's body. But his starlight began to burn out almost as quickly as it appeared. From the south side of Chicago to Chicago's MVP, this is the story behind Derrick Rose. Rose was born and raised in Chicago's notorious Englewood neighborhood by his mom Brenda and his three older brothers, Dwayne, Reggie, and Alan. It was Derrick's brothers who introduced him to basketball, and when it became obvious that the youngest Rose brothers' on-court talent was going to attract attention and potentially provide a ticket to a better life, it was Derrick's brothers and mother who insulated and protected him from the pitfalls of Englewood. As the brothers detailed in a 2006 Sports Illustrated profile, they smothered him, monitoring everyone Derrick came into contact with at all times, picking him up and dropping him off at school, and even having people spy on Derrick when he went out without his brothers around. Given the basketball phenom Rose was becoming in high school, and the way highly touted Chicago ballers of the past had been sidetracked and done in by outside forces, it was no wonder Derrick's family wanted to protect him. Whether it was the story of top-ranked senior Ben Wilson being gunned down on his lunch break, or Farragut Academy's Ronnie Fields, a first-team All-USA selection alongside Kobe Bryant, Jermaine O'Neal, Mike Bibby, and Tim Thomas, breaking his neck in a car accident, the stories of hoop dreams turned tragedies hung over the Chicago basketball scene like a dark cloud. Honoring Wilson by wearing his number 25 at Wilson's alma mater, Rose brought Simeon Career Academy unprecedented success.
Here it is again.
Unbelievable. Derrick Rose, another steal.
He led the school's freshman team to a city championship in 2004, made varsity and an All-America third team as a sophomore, then led back-to-back state championship teams as a junior and senior, helping make Simeon the first Chicago public school to win 2 straight titles. The 2006 title, Simeon's first since Wilson himself led them to the mountaintop 22 years earlier, was won on a Rose floater at the buzzer.
Here's Rose. He's going to make a play. He's going one-on-one. The loft, the score! Derrick Rose with the bucket. And now was there a timeout called? Simeon believes they have won the 2006 state championship. Derrick Rose with a heroic play. You talk about a guy that steps up at showtime.
By the end of his high school career, which included memorable battles with other star point guard recruits like Kemba Walker and Brandon Jennings, Rose was an All-American, Illinois' Mr. Basketball, had led Simeon to a combined record of 120 and 12, and was named the 3rd best high school point guard of the decade. And by the time he got to Memphis and to John Calipari, everyone knew Rose would be a one-and-done collegiate player. In that lone season at Memphis, Rose averaged roughly 15 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and a steal to lead the Tigers to an NCAA record 38 wins, the number 1 ranking in the country, and the national championship game. And just as he had done in high school, Rose proved again in college that he was made for the game's biggest moments, averaging roughly 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists during the 2008 NCAA tournament, which included a memorable performance against Russell Westbrook's UCLA squad in the Final Four.
Collison goes for the steal, has to be careful with the 4 fouls. Rose, how did he get it spin from right underneath the cylinder?
Though Rose missed a key late free throw in Memphis' title game loss to Kansas, he had already done more than enough to establish himself as the 2008 NBA Draft's top pick, which ironically belonged to his hometown Bulls.
With the first pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Derrick Rose from the University of Memphis.
Rose immediately lived up to the hype as a rookie, averaging 16.8 points and 6.3 assists to win Rookie of the Year in a star-studded class, and led the young Bulls to the playoffs, where they pushed the defending champion Celtics to a Game 7 in an epic first-round series.
Rose driving. Oh, goodness. Knocked out by Pierce. Count the basket. 34 for Rose. Chicago back on top.
Rose's 36 points in the series opener, which also included 11 assists, matched Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's postseason record for a rookie debut, and the series as a whole teased the potential of what Rose's Bulls could be going forward. Before that future promise, however, Rose's collegiate past came back to haunt him, as it was alleged he had someone take his SAT for him in order to qualify to go to Memphis after he had failed the ACT 3 times. An investigation, which also found that brother Reggie had traveled with the Tigers for free, and the voiding of Rose's SAT score resulted in the NCAA vacating Memphis' 2007-2008 season just a couple months before Rose's sophomore NBA season was set to tip off. The next year, Rose and Calipari paid $100,000 in an out-of-court settlement with lawyers representing Memphis season ticket holders, who were threatening a lawsuit over the vacated season. Calipari and athletic director R.C. Johnson also agreed to repay their Final Four bonuses. Back on the court, Rose's second season as a pro was a successful individual campaign, as he became a 20-point scorer and made his first All-Star game. But the Bulls failed to take the step forward everyone envisioned for them. Chicago went 41-41 for the second straight year, entered the playoffs as an 8 seed, and were easily dispatched by LeBron James' Cavaliers in 5 games. What Rose had in store for year 3 would shake the basketball world, however. With that world still reeling from LeBron's decision to join Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in South Beach, Rose's Bulls, now under the direction of defensive mastermind Tom Thibodeau, emerged as the NBA's most surprising foe for that new super team in Miami.
Rose. Oh, he's loose in the lane. Down the lane. Scooping, scoring.
Oh, too big, too strong, too fast, too good.
17-0 the run. 65-53.
Rose led a hard-nosed Bulls team to an NBA best 62 wins, averaging 25 points, 7.7 assists, 4.1 rebounds, and a steal in the process, while logging more than 37 minutes per game and suiting up for 81 of 82 contests. He also did this to poor Goran Dragic.
Lead pass. Rose.
Stop it! Stop it! Do not do him like that! What are you doing, Dragic? Did you not get the memo? Derrick Rose can go upstairs.
It all culminated in the 22-year-old Rose becoming the youngest MVP in NBA history. In what would become a pattern for Rose's Bulls, Chicago fell to LeBron's Heat in the 2011 East Finals, but they were seemingly stamped as perennial contenders. It helped that Rose signed a new max extension with the Bulls later that year, under a new clause in the CBA literally called the Derrick Rose rule, that came with an annual salary worth 30% of the salary cap rather than 25%, for players coming off their rookie scale deals who met certain criteria. So, to summarize, 3 years into his NBA career, Derrick Rose, the Chicago-bred hoops phenom, had restored the Bulls to near greatness for the first time since his airness roamed the Windy City, had become the youngest MVP in league history, and was so damn good, so damn fast, that the league created a new contract structure bearing his name. Now imagine if someone told you at the time that Rose had already peaked. Rose's follow-up to his MVP season began with a bang on opening day, which had been pushed back to Christmas in the lockout-shortened 2011-2012 season.
It's Rose, the MVP, with 11 seconds left. The Bulls with a chance to win here on Christmas Day. Rose left, Rose in the lane, Rose, good! Derrick Rose and the Bulls come back to take a 1-point lead.
He also signed a reported 14-year, $185 million contract with Adidas, made his 3rd straight All-Star appearance, and the Bulls once again claimed the league's top seed entering the playoffs. But then disaster struck.
We're looking to sweep you guys. You wanted us. You were crying out that you bypassed the harder team in Miami Heat.
Rose came down bad on his left foot. See him holding onto his knee and down.
Rose tore his left ACL in Game 1 of the postseason's opening round against Philly, and neither he nor the Bulls would ever be the same. Chicago was upset by the 8th-seeded Sixers in 6 games, and Rose, who made 3 All-Star games in his first 4 seasons but hasn't made one since, would go on to miss the entire 2012-13 season, during which the Bulls would win 45 games and bow out in the second round to LeBron's Heat. The former MVP's highly anticipated 2013-14 return lasted only 10 games before Rose tore his right meniscus.
Almost like he just kind of took an awkward step right there.
Rose returned for the 2014-15 season only to suffer another meniscus tear in his right knee. Though this time, after suiting up for 51 regular season games, he was able to return for the playoffs. And while Rose's Bulls would once again fall to a LeBron-led team once there, this time back in Cleveland, he did first provide Chicago with one of its most exciting playoff moments of the last 2 decades.
Looking, finds Rose. Rose trying to get open, fires away. Bang! It's over! The Bulls win at the buzzer!
After one more largely uneventful season in Chicago, in which Rose was only the Bulls' 3rd leading scorer, he was traded to the Knicks in the summer of 2016. It's still stunning to consider how quickly injuries robbed him of potential greatness and glory in Chicago. Within 4 years, Rose went from perennial MVP candidate in his early 20s to being traded for Jose Calderon, Jerian Grant, and Robin Lopez.
Yeah.
Okay, or you
just in awe.
Off the court, a much more serious issue was about to play out.
Derrick, how you been?
Yeah, getting messaged up for the fans.
Why bringing these accusations against you years later?
Rose was facing a federal civil lawsuit stemming from allegations that he and 2 friends raped a former girlfriend in 2013, during which time she was said to be in and out of consciousness due to a night of drinking. Though Rose was found not liable by a jury and a 2018 appeal was denied, his own depositions and the trial itself made it tough for the public at large to reconcile with the jury's decision. Rose claimed he didn't understand the meaning of the word consent. He also said, after reviewing text messages between he and the victim on the night in question, that nothing within those messages would lead him to believe that the plaintiff wanted to have sex with him or the 2 defendants. When asked whether he and his friends discussed whether they were going to the plaintiff's house for sex, Rose replied, "We men, you can assume, like we leaving to go over to someone's house at 1 a.m. There's nothing to talk about." When the trial was resolved, the judge hearing the case jokingly wished Rose's Knicks well, except when they play the Lakers, and Rose even posed for pictures with some jurors.
This is all behind me now. That's the past now. Only thing I can focus on and worry about is the future. I still have a lot of confidence in my ability. The confidence never left. If anything, it made me focus in a little bit more.
Rose's subsequent season in New York was a bizarre one. As though he recorded his highest scoring average in 5 years, he was also fined for leaving the team without notice on a game day to tend to a family issue, and tore the meniscus in his left knee this time late in the season, which led to a 4th knee surgery in almost as many years. Rose signed with an awkwardly constructed LeBron-led Cavs team that now included Wade for the 2017-18 season, which immediately went off the rails for player and team. Rose battled an ankle injury and bone spurs early in the season, and took extended time away from his new team to consider his future in the league. The Cavs traded him to Utah after only 16 games played, and after the Jazz waived Rose, he reunited with Thibodeau in Minnesota, the Timberwolves marking his 5th team in 3 seasons. From a basketball perspective, Minnesota is where Rose began to rise from the ashes, as he re-signed with the Wolves for the 2018-19 season and found his footing as an impact reserve. Most memorably, Rose recorded the only 50-point game of his career on an emotional night early in that 18-19 season.
Your career high 50 points. What does it mean to you, Derrick?
Man, everything, man. I worked my ass off, bro.
Elbow and ankle injuries cut his season short, but that Minnesota experience breathed new life into Rose's career, as he secured a 2-year, $15 million contract from the Pistons, and finished top 7 in Sixth Man of the Year voting for a second consecutive season in 2019-20.
Derrick with the drive over Holiday, hits it as time runs out. Derrick Rose wins the ball game for the Pistons.
Yet another reunion with Coach Tibbs and a second chance in New York has gone better than anyone could have envisioned when the Knicks traded for Rose midway through the 2020-2021 season, as the 13-year veteran has proved a stabilizing force off the bench for a young, overachieving team. Rose, whose jump shooting was an Achilles heel even in his prime, has also enjoyed the best shooting stretch of his career in New York. It's been an unexpected second act, or is it third act? Fourth act of Rose's career? He was an icon, an MVP, and the face of his hometown franchise while barely old enough to drink. His NBA career and his future appeared infallible, but he's been a battered shell of that player for the majority of that career now. Since missing just 5 games combined over his first 3 seasons, Rose has missed an average of 37 games per year, has cracked the 60-game mark only twice in the last 10 years, and hasn't played more than 66 games in a season in over a decade. Given all that Rose's career has encompassed, it can be easy to forget and staggering to remember that he's still only 32 years old. The same can be said when considering how uniquely successful and tumultuous a life has been packed into those 32 years. At his absolute best, we had never seen a player like Derrick Rose. For better or worse, we'll never see an NBA career like his again either. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.